Good morning, everyone. Lots going on as usual. Today is, what day is it today? Tuesday, October 21st, 2025. I've got some show notes to share. I'm trying streaming on a whole bunch of new platforms. If you want access to the live show, head over to Canada Poly right now and you can have access to the live show streaming. And I'll mention this when I switch over to the paid show as well. The only people with memberships can actually do it, but I've got it streaming on my channel. I've got it streaming on Telegram. I think that's supposed to be working. I've got it on a whole bunch of other ones, that BitChute, Odyssey. So there's a bunch of things that I'm testing out right now, and I don't know how it's going to work. So fingers crossed. But a little bit of show news to start us off today, and now into the regular news. We're seeing tent cities in the United Kingdom now, and that's pretty crazy. Tent cities, really? And I think it's coordinated. When tent cities happened in Ontario, in Canada, there were people going around starting them in places like town squares and things like that to encourage other people to do it. And then once the idea took hold, they moved on to the next place. I think these people were paid. I don't have any proof to back that up. I'm just saying it seems like a coordinated paid kind of thing. This doesn't seem like the thing in Canada particularly, but the United Kingdom too. It's not very nice to sleep in a tent and in the middle of a city, right? In a tent city, in a slum. People don't like that. People don't like having to do that, I don't think. And so I think that there are influencers who are pushing it, and it's something. It's weird. Something's hinky with it, but I'll show you that. Trump is being reported by TMZ that he's considering a Diddy pardon, so pardoning Diddy, and people were pushing back and saying, we wanted you to pardon Snowden and Julian Assange, not Puff Daddy. Like, what are you talking about? So apparently that's fake news, though. So we'll see. I don't know. A whole bunch of different reports. Gem subscribers on CBC. So CBC has this online thing called Gem. I've only heard of it because they're trying to keep the number of subscribers secret. I think that there's a lot of government money going through. So you use government money to pay for subscriptions, and those subscriptions are a different kind of subsidy to the CBC, but they're not real subscriptions. And so if we see, 1.5 million subscriptions at $5.99 each, that's a lot of money, right? That's like $5.5 million. So that's extra money they can do stuff with, right? And so it's hinky, and I think they're trying to hide that kind of underhanded stuff. Okay. Diddy pardon? No, I talked about that. Calgary mayoral election. Gondik didn't win. Yay! BC Cons falling apart. Rustad's terrible. Carbon wallet will be the gateway to digital ID. That's what they're trying for anyway. In the UK, they're starting it off, and I've got that for you. And illegal drugs being consumed in safe consumption sites. And the government tries to dodge the question by answering it, but it's using language that is not very recognizable. And this is, Poilievre is being asked to apologize for calling out Brenda Lucki for being useless and controlled opposition. Poilievre is controlled opposition, I think. But I think it's interesting because this whole scandal is a fake scandal for low information voters. There's nothing real about this scandal. It's just fake. It's just fake. And Poilievre's playing his role. This is wrestling amped up, and Poilievre's playing the heel. Okay. And he's playing his role, and he's even backing off. He's like, whoa, hold on. I didn't mean that. And so there's lots to get to. Let's get to it. First, Poilievre. CTV News is reporting Liberals, Greens, NDPs call on Poilievre to apologize over RCMP comments. And weird, right? Right Plan says why. He spoke the truth. The police force ignored damning public evidence and didn't do their due diligence improperly investigating the obstruction of Jody Wilson-Raybould. The RCMP owes Canada an apology, and I agree with Rightblind. He's not wrong. Here's another remembrance. BUAC says, I still think about when this woman left her phone call with their daughter off the hook and caught the RCMP planting guns in Coots. And this happened, and again, it's just been buried, but Global News is pretending that the RCMP is an institution beyond reproach, right? The Mounties, it's a Canadian thing, and you don't question the Mounties, right? They're working for globalists who run Canada. Global News is reporting Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is facing a chorus of calls from across the aisle to apologize over comments he made last week about the RCMP. And then Poilievre plays his role, and National Post is reporting last night at 6:30. Poilievre clarifies remarks on despicable leadership at RCMP, says he was talking about the past commissioner, Brenda Lucki. And so, again, sure, maybe he's got a point, but what year is it? Like, have you heard of Bill C-8? or C9 or C2? Can we get your take on those, Mr. Poilievre? It's weird. It seems like this is a big distraction built to distract us away from the censorship bills that they're trying to get passed. And I hope that I'm wrong about that, but it seems that I'm not. Lori says conservatives are urged to soften stance after Poilievre's commitment on the despicable RCMP on the quote despicable leadership of the RCMP faced backlash. The opposition leader's office instructed Conservative MPs on Monday to reinforce a more positive message about the nation's national police. Made in Canada says, we just need a party stance on Bill C8 and C9, and it's alarming that instead of discussing and declaring opposition to the bills, the CPC decides to distract with this question: what is priority to address, bills through their second reading or this? Bills that are through their second reading, that's what's to address. Are these bills going to get passed before the budget is presented, and then we're going to have the government collapse? Maybe we'll see. I don't know if we're going to see the government collapse. Lisa Raitt is playing her role as well, and she's vying for a political position when she, in the next cycle, I'm sure. CTV Power Play says the leader was grossly imprecise. Well, this is Lisa Raitt, what she's talking about. Pierre Poilievre talking about the RCMP. Oh, I thought I had that right beside each other. Oh, well, we'll listen to this one. Here is Lisa Raitt, and she's talking about Pierre Poilievre. And this is not the scandal we need to be focused on. We need to be focused on the censorship bills. Well, Canada needs to be focused on the censorship bills. This is a show, like this whole politics show, focusing on Brenda Lucki and Pierre Poilievre's criticism of Brenda Lucki has absolutely nothing to do with the disaster that Canada is right now. I mean, it did years ago when they didn't do anything about the criminality happening in government. Sure, yeah, it contributed to where we're at now. But where we're at now is Pierre Poilievre's closing his eyes and his mouth about C8 and C9. And this is a bullshit scandal to take up time and waste our time and distract us away from the important stuff. So these people are all complicit, from Lisa Raitt and Mauclair to Vasi Kapoulis and whoever these guys are.
Lisa, I was thinking back today to all the SNC stuff, because that's what it brings back. And I remember how many times I was interviewing you at that time, and different, Marco Mendicino at that time. Like, it was day in and day out. I remember when that stuff was litigated, for sure. Yeah. Why do you think the comments as they came through this week garnered the reaction they did? And why do you think ultimately that statement of clarification was issued today?
And I would go back to saying, why are we talking about Justin Trudeau? Why are we going back there? What's the connectivity to Mark Carney? That's my frustration with all of this. The leader.
What's the connectivity between Justin Trudeau and Mark Carney? Indeed. Let's talk about that. The fact that they're pushing the same policies, doing pretty much the same things, running pretty much the same government and pretty much the same configuration. What's the connection, she says? Holy smoke. Talk about distracting people, lying to people.
Was grossly imprecise in his original comments. And I'll give him that. If he's saying that he meant to say Brenda Lucki, fine. But he was grossly imprecise when he did that. And the danger of something like that is you end up putting offside people who vote for you. I mean, I served in cabinet with Shelley Glover, who was an RCMP officer, who I'm sure would not take kindly to comments like that in terms of the general population.
Do you think that the RCMP officers are like, we love our leadership and there's nobody who's going to say anything that's going to change my mind about that? All of the leadership is good and none of the leadership is bad. Everything they do is good and nothing is bad. So like, I worked with an RCMP officer and they'd probably get mad if you called the leadership bad. The leadership's terrible. They're treasonous traitors. Are you kidding me? I worked with somebody once who might get mad about this. Shut up. What an absolute ridiculous argument. Shut up. All assets are activated, though. Here's drunky McLiz, and she's saying, I went to law school. She's not a lawyer. Is she a lawyer? She might be a lawyer. I don't know. But like, it just struck me as funny. Like, I went to law school and Pierre didn't. So ha ha ha. So here's what's her face? The leader of the Green Party, talking about how she's went to law school and Pierre Poilievre didn't. I'm going to find out if she's a lawyer. Hold on.
Green Party of Canada. I don't know about the rest of you, but I felt compelled to speak out at Pierre Poilievre's latest, outburst that seems to have come from the pages of Project 2025. It certainly didn't come from the criminal code, with the notion that former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau should be in jail if not for the quote-unquote despicable leadership of the RCMP. First of all, I did go to law school. Pierre Poilievre didn't. People think there are
She is not a lawyer. I went to clown school. So, right. Draw your own conclusions. I went to law school. Poilievre didn't. And are you a lawyer, madam? Next question. Pierre Poilievre's not a lawyer. Are you a lawyer? Gary Anasangri says, for anyone to suggest that the RCMP is engaging in a political cover-up or political cover-ups is irresponsible and dangerous. Can we just investigate the RCMP to see if they're engaging in political cover-ups, especially for the Liberals and maybe Elizabeth May? He continues to say the Conservatives should be ashamed of their leader for suggesting such a thing. On this side of the aisle, we will always respect the men and women that protect us every day. Bull poop. This whole scandal is nonsense. John says Pierre Poilievre is controlled opposition. This is a psyop to take the focus off the globalist bills, C8 and C9. I know you guys must be starting to see what's occurring. Come on, please, everybody, snap out of it. This is not the thing. This is not the thing. Oh, this is the Lisa Raitt thing I was looking for. And Ryan says, hey, Lisa, maybe there are Canadians who want to see justice and accountability. One thing's for sure, when the media is showing more outrage over Pierre Poilievre, saying that the RCMP are disaster and ineffective, treasonous, whatever he said, rather than calling for an investigation, there's a problem. Yeah, like, shouldn't we get to the bottom of this? Maybe there's something to this. Isn't obstruction of justice clearly laid out in our criminal code? And isn't that what Justin Trudeau did by removing the attorney general who's supposed to be independent, and she wouldn't give a DPA, a deferred prosecution agreement, to SNC-Lavalin? And so she was removed. Isn't that interference? Isn't that obstruction? Isn't that against the law? I think so. Right? But everybody's like, oh, that Pierre Poilievre, he's so mean. He's so mean. So it's a distraction, and we are being screwed. And let's talk about land rights, because we're being screwed on that too. I honestly have a little bit on C8, C9, but most of it's just free speech and digital ID, and the digital ID stuff is very concerning. But we're not going to get there for another 5 minutes or so anyway. But the digital ID stuff is crazy, but nobody wants to talk about C8 and C9. Not really, right? And they're slamming this thing through. They're running it through. It's unless the government collapses in November, which it might happen. I'm hearing lots of rumors about it, but
has decided that homes in Richmond.
But it's certainly not a dead cert, and the powers that be want to slam these bills through. And Pierre Poilievre is playing the heel, man. He's playing the game with them. Okay, so they're all on the same team, and it's not our team. Dallas Brody, let's talk about land rights. She says, if an Indigenous tribe fished on your land 150 years ago, they get to take that land today. That's Aboriginal title, and it's a threat to Western civilization. Here she is saying it in the BC legislature.
A judge has decided that homes in Richmond are now owned by the Cowichan tribes because their great-grandparents once fished there. That is Aboriginal title. There are 200 more bands in BC with their own Aboriginal title claims. Judges have the legal authority to give away every square inch of this province, including your home, as long as Aboriginal title remains in our Constitution. Mr. Speaker, property rights are the foundation of Western civilization. Aboriginal title is an existential threat to that civilization. My question is for the Premier. Will he support constitutional reform to legally extinguish Aboriginal title?
Attorney General.
Mr. Speaker, we take a different view than the member on many things, including this one. The work of reconciliation and sitting down with First Nations across this province to resolve historic wrong and to bring certainty to the land is the path forward, and it's a path that we will continue to take, and is an important one. And I've already talked quite extensively about our approach in this legal matter that we'll continue to take to uphold private property rights, and we will continue to work with First Nations to bring agreements and certainty to the land. Thank you.
Agreements and certainty to the land. Well, we had agreements and certainty to the land, and then the Liberals destroyed it. And so they're trying to remove land rights. And in order to do that, you need to, have the legal side. There has to be a legal side push and pulling. But we also have a situation where buying a house is very expensive. Most people who are coming into the age where they should be buying a house are looking at the math of it and saying, there's no way that I'll ever own a house. There's no point in me even trying. Why bother trying? And so they're now changing their outlook and demanding changes. And so all of these things are cascading into revolutionary, right? Like, we're not going to do what you guys did. You guys wrecked the system. when, again, globalists wreck the system. It's not the system it's not capitalism that wrecked the system. And so they're going to say, we want government supplied housing, and that's never failed in the past, right? That's better than tents. And so that's kind of, I think, what they're trying to ferment, that they're trying to churn this engine and make it so the disaffected youth turn on the elderly, the older people, for stealing their future. And so they say, for stealing our future, we'll just take your houses now and we'll kill you off. And maybe that's a bit extreme, but like, it seems like you don't get a communist revolution from a successful capitalist society. You have to destroy, destabilize that society, and then give people a reason to rise up. And it just fits. Here's Rod, and he's talking about the tent cities in the United Kingdom. He says Labour, that's the Liberals in the United Kingdom, Keir Starmer, have made it legal to sleep rough in tents. And Ben says on the central reservation outside Warren Street Station in London is a sizable encampment of people rough sleeping in tents. This is in the Holbarton and St. Pancras constituency. If only the local MP was in a position to address this issue. So this looks like Canada. This looks like Canada circa 21, 22, 23, right? And the politicians said, oh no, what could we possibly do? We can't take tents out of the center of the city because these people need a place to sleep. And like, if I was like an idiot high school student in Guelph, set up a tent in that same place in 1999, within 5 minutes, somebody would be there saying, you can't put that here, buddy. Get out of here. Like, and stop being an idiot and don't come back. You know, like, and if you mess around, we're going to make sure that you don't come back, right? And we're going to have some kind of something to make sure that you're out of here, because you don't want slums in the middle of your city, right? Until all of a sudden you do. And then everybody just looks the other way and the government can't do a damn thing about it. It's insane. Here is Aaron Gunn, and he is talking to the housing minister, and the housing minister, sorry, this is in the wrong order, so I'm putting it in the right order. The housing minister is saying, no, this one. Average home price must fall in Canada to restore affordability. And everybody says Carney's smart, but this is the dumbest thing I've ever read. And like, if you're a smart person and one of your cabinet brings this idea to you, you would recognize it as a dumb idea right away, because this doesn't make any rational sense unless you're trying to mislead the population, in which case you let it slide, see what they say. Here is CTV News reporting Federal Housing Minister Gregor Robertson says that the average price of housing, not necessarily individual home values, must fall to restore affordability in Canada. Have you ever done an average, Gregor? Have you ever run an average? If you have an average and like 10 of the numbers are above 100, say they're between 100 and 200, then your average is going to be between 100 and 200. But if you take all of those numbers and you reduce it, so the average is like 79, then each one of those individual numbers has to reduce to fall in line to make that average 79. And those numbers would then be between 50 and 100, or maybe below 50, but like, and maybe a bit above 100, but it sure wouldn't be between 100 and 200. That's for damn sure. So he's not saying, oh, we're going to attack individual home prices, but we got to get that average down. Your individual home price is going to be impacted by this. You effing moron. Like, what? Holy smokeroonies, really? We're supposed to believe this? Not individual home values. Don't look too much into this. Please don't understand math at all, everybody. Next question. What? Robertson was before the House of Commons Finance Committee this morning answering MPs' questions about the Liberal government's affordability legislation. And then here's some video of this, because it's as ridiculous as you think it is. I don't actually have, this is a clipped 1 minute 35. Let's see how many ridiculous things he says while we can stand to watch it.
Do you think the policy decision by the Liberal government to effectively double or even triple immigration rates into this country contributed to the rapid increase in prices and the corresponding decrease in affordability?
Through the chair, I can't speak to the immigration policies that precede my time here in Ottawa, but
you think it had an effect on price? I mean, you're the housing minister, so you think the rapid increase in immigration negatively increased housing prices and negatively impacted affordability?
Through the chair, there are a number of factors that affect housing affordability. Certainly, interest rates escalating over the years.
Is immigration one of them?
Immigration is a factor. There are a number of drivers depending on how much we're building and how many people are in the market.
So you would acknowledge the rapid increases in immigration rates decreased housing affordability in Vancouver and other cities across Canada?
I would certainly acknowledge there are many factors that have made housing less affordable across the country, including the federal government for several decades not investing enough in non-market housing.
Do you think the policy to double or triple immigration rates was the right one as it pertains to housing prices?
Through the chair, I'm here to talk about the first time.
Dodge. One of the things that somebody said, I have no problem having my house value drop $100,000 if they all do as well. Sure, it's not. I don't have a problem necessarily with having the housing prices drop altogether. So if your house is worth $1 million now, say it's worth $800,000 in 5 months or something like that. Something like that's already happened. The problem is what they're trying to do. What the Liberals are trying to do is maintain that $1 million value. Your house is going to keep that value. But what they're trying to accomplish is creating affordable housing that will live in the market alongside your $1 million asset. And the affordable housing will be like a $50,000 shipping container stacked. But people will be able to own it or something like that, or they'll be able to access it. But these affordable housing somehow don't compete with your asset. Your asset is, your asset, and it's going to maintain the price. But this is affordable housing. This is a different thing. And it's not. They're the same thing. They're the same product. One's just a Mercedes, and the other is a jalopy, is an electric scooter. Okay? Like, you have, with the Mercedes, you have a car that's the value is going to either maintain or increase. It's going to become a classic car. And oh my gosh, it's got a V8 and it's got that special knob on it. And the trim, the fake wood trim, gotta love it, right? And so your asset increases, the house asset increases, but not the jalopy. The jalopy just becomes useless, right? The affordable housing class they're trying to build just falls into disrepair. Think of the reservations. Think of the First Nation reservations where things aren't owned by anybody. They fall into disrepair and the government has to spend money constantly to upkeep them. It's the same damn system. That's what they want to build. That's what they're trying to do. Okay? That's the point. That's what I'm saying. So they're fooling you. They're lying to you. And they're pretending that they're going to build these assets for you, but they're not. Here is Radio Genoa says the white British population of London has fallen from 98% to 37% in just a few years. From 1961, and this is just a quick, that went the wrong way. This is just a quick pie graph of the white population of London. If this was any other race and white people had displaced that other race, this would be unbelievable. But because it's happening to this certain race, nobody seems to be upset about it. And that's weird, right? So 1961 was 98%, I think. Oh, hold on, I got to back it up because I don't actually know. 97.7%. 1971 was 92.6. 1981, 85.7. 1991, 79.8. 2001, 59.8. 2011, 44.9. 2021, 36.8. Right? What is a nation? A nation is a group of people, a grouping of people who share the same culture and all of the rest of that stuff. What this shows is that the culture of England has been fundamentally changed. You can't have the same culture if only 36% of people are of the same culture. Everybody else is from somewhere else, and they don't share the culture of the United Kingdom. They don't. Some people come from cultures that are that hate the culture of the United Kingdom. Some of them come from cultures that want to replace the culture of the United Kingdom. Some of them come from cultures where that's their stated goal. And so how can you have British culture be the dominant culture when British people are a declining piece of that pie? I feel like that's nearly impossible, right? And it's something that nobody likes to talk about. We're already at 24 minutes. My gosh, we've got to finish this up and then I've got to kill the stream, except for the live stream. It's telling me that my live stream on Canada Poly is degraded. So you're going to have to tell me, everybody who's watching on CanadaPoly.com, if it is degraded. Let me know in the comments. I'm going to check after the show today to see how it went. So please do give me some feedback because I'm on a free trial right now, but I'll buy it if it works well. And if it doesn't work well, I'll look for something that does work better. So let me know, please. And also, I'm trying this on Odyssey. I'm trying this on BitChute. I'm trying this on Telegram. I already know that Telegram does not give any visual right now, and I don't know why the visual is not working, but I think the audio is working on Telegram. So let me know how all of these other streams are going, because I'm just testing this out and I wanted to try it, and I've been promising it for a little while and I've delivered. Haha. We're going to finish this series of tabs and then we will go. I'll kill the stream for everybody but the Canada Poly members. I asked Grok, because why not, how much provincial, municipal, and federal taxes are involved in building a home in Guelph, an average price home, which is around $800,000. And Grok says the total is $157,410 in tax. So I think that $800,000 is the cost of building the house. So you agree with the builder, this house is going to cost $800,000. And then on top of that, you pay GST and all these taxes. It could be that some of this $157,000 is taken up in that $800,000 bill. I don't know what the final bill would be, but I feel like the final bill would be would have this added onto it. So that's a lot of taxes, and the people who are administering our government are making it so housing is unaffordable via $150,000 in taxes. What? That's insane for an average price home. The fact that $800,000 is an average price home is also insane. Absolutely bonkers. Kian says, crisis down under. Australian farmers will be unable to do their job after race-based state-sanctioned extortion is legalized. Farming will be impossible on any plot of land that does not receive sign-off and support from extremist Indigenous groups. I feel like this is also the plan in Canada. They're going to have First Nations administer the land. Australia, I've told you that Australia, they wanted to do this and hand the administration of the land back to the United Nations. Totally plausible. Totally believable. Okay, with that, I have to stop the stream, and it's going to take me longer to stop the stream than usual because I have to go and individually stop each one. So thanks for watching, everybody. If you want the whole show, hopefully you can go and right now buy a new subscription if you want to, or use your subscription that you already have and watch the rest of the show right now on the live stream that's right at the top of the homepage. But if not, that's okay. We will catch you tomorrow, and I'm going to start killing the live stream now. I hope this works. I don't know if it will work. It seems like it'll work, but I'm not sure. I just have to go through each one and turn it off. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're good. There's only one live stream left. Oh, the Rumble ones. The Rumble ones are still going. I don't know how to turn that off. YouTube's still connected. Oh, for crying out loud. I don't know if this is going to work. I don't think it's going to work. Oh, I thought I just turned off the wrong one. I don't think it's going to work. It's not letting me kill the streams. It's turning